Hello. Hi, this is Stephanie Capizzi again. Today's episode of Musicians Are Extraordinary, and we're going to be visiting with Dianne Karelovich.
Yep.
Yes. And I met Dianne here in Florida. We're in her home today, her lovely home. Last year, actually, first time I ever saw Dianne, you were playing in broadband at a place called the Village Idiot in Cocoa Village. Yes, that's right. And today we get to visit with Dianne and learn a little bit more about her. I'm glad you're here. Come on and join this conversation. Hey.
Hey.
Hey. How are you today?
Good. Very good.
Yeah, good. Okay. And so actually, usually when I do these interviews, I sent you some questions ahead. I'm just going to be asking a little bit to help guide the conversation, but I'd love for it to just be as smooth as possible. And so, I'm going to just start with my first question. As a musician and songwriter, both of which you are just amazing at, what can you tell me about what age were you when you realized you loved music or that you started doing music?
So
what can you tell me about?
There was a coffee house in Cocoa Village that is long since, defunct.
Okay.
And they did hootenannies there, and I got the nerve. I went in and, met some good supportive people.
Yeah.
As it goes.
Yeah.
And that's just, one thing led to another.
Yeah. Wow. And then you just went from there, playing music and the guitar and singing. Yeah. Awesome. So there was a lot of music in your family growing up. You came from that. Yeah. Wonderful. Was there I had a question. Did you start writing songs when you were young?
Probably. Yeah, I wrote really, really terrible songs,
Okay.
And the first one that I remember, I think it was called Darkness Unto Death. It was 70s something.
Okay.
I was a teenager in the 70s, and that entails, smoking weed and listening to, depressing music. And they were pretty bad.
Yeah.
I started when I was, young.
Yeah.
16.
Yeah. Those are really important songs. Those early songs, aren't they? I think. Yeah, they could be described as bad, but they're just important. I think they have to come through first.
So. I still have the notebook that I had in my my young girl penmanship and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool to have that. Oh my gosh. And you get to look back at it. That's cool. And kind of see the progression of the songs as your life went on. Yeah. Got my little index cards here to keep me on track. I'm upgraded from a notebook. I don't think this is an upgrade, but okay. So I have another question. So I don't know that anyone ever does, but do you have a favorite song? And if so, what makes it?
So when you sent me the list of questions, I started thinking about that. And it's hard to have just one because there's so many wonderful songs. And I think periods of your life are defined, you like songs from that time in your life. When I was the age when I was just talking about 15 or so, I loved Fountain of Sorrow by Jackson Browne because just lyrically, it was just just really powerful,
Yeah.
As I got older, I like this song called Never Been Any Reason by Head East. And I turned into a party girl because it's a fun rockin', it's like an anthem. It seems like it's a lot longer. It's only 4.5 minutes, but it's a fun song.
Yeah.
But I think today probably my favorite song would be it's called Hot Burrito No. 1 by Graham Parsons.
Oh.
The Mavericks do a wonderful, wonderful version of that song.
Yeah.
That's the one I try to emulate. We perform that song with the band.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, now I'm going to have to listen again to be aware what song that is. So, because you've played it, I'm sure, when I've been there, and I can't think of what it is. That's okay, though. Okay. And it's so true how different songs are kind of define different chapters or parts of our life. A lot. Most people none that I've met yet, nobody has a favorite song. And how can you?
Yeah, you can't
have
There's so
a
many.
favorite song, right? I think. Let's see. Okay, here's a silly question, which one day I'll probably change this surprise question. But right now we're still doing. If you were a fruit, any kind of fruit, what would you be?
So you didn't prep me on that one, so
No.
I have to think about it a minute.
Okay.
I'm thinking of my fruits. I don't know. The first thing that popped in my head was strawberry.
Yeah.
Don't ask me why.
Okay, so there's no why.
Okay.
Sometimes people can
Right.
say, why would they choose to be that fruit? Yeah, it's just the first one that popped into your head, so that's why. Yeah.
Sometimes sweet, sometimes tart, you know.
Which is like you're saying.
Yeah.
All right, it's great. Yeah, a lot of people say strawberry.
Plus it's strawberry season, so.
Oh, there's that also. Yeah. Here in Florida. Here in Florida,
Yeah,
it's
the strawberry stuff
season.
is like, yeah, it's January, February.
Yeah, here it is, huh? Yeah, there's a strawberry festival somewhere near here, somewhere soon. I swear I saw something on the side of the road about that. We're in Rockledge.
I think there might be one in Wickham Park in Melbourne.
Okay.
But I don't know when. I went one year and I didn't care for it. So.
No, okay. Yeah.
Not enough strawberries.
Oh, really? Was not very strawberry festival, huh? I'll have to check that out, I guess. I probably will. So, as I mentioned, Dianne is an amazing songwriter, amongst other things. And I would love to hear about, do you have a process for creating songs? What brings them?
I wish I did.
Yeah,
I wish I could, say I'm going to write a song today, but sometimes I think they just come through me. They don't come from me.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes me 20 years or more to write a song. I'll have an idea and I'll write it down and then it just lays there.
Yeah.
The one song that people request a lot is called High Blue Sky. It's the real bouncy Florida song.
Yeah.
And I started that and I probably in 2002, probably.
Okay.
And so then I finished it. I wrote the first couple verses and I could just never find a melody that went with the lyric. And then I'm a fledgling banjo player and I was playing on my banjo and I'm like, oh, that kind of works. And then I finally finished it. There was a fellow that was in the music community that had passed away. And that's how my last verse was grown or born, I guess.
Yeah.
And that took many, many years. Sometimes one time I was writing a song, or someone had told me about a song contest with Michelle Schacht, who was a singer from, I guess, the 90s. And it was 2010, and she was doing a tour of her Arkansas Traveler album, and she put it out there, send me a song about the current economic crisis situation, because it was 2008 through 10.
Okay, yeah.
And so my friend at that time, Mary Sue, she called me and she goes, Dianne, you should try to write a song. And like 2 days later, I was driving down the road and I just had to pull over and just write it all down because it just came at me in a rush.
Yeah.
And some of them are like that. Some of them are, you just have to really work at it. I very rarely just say I'm going to write a song today. I tried that last week and I got nothing.
Yeah.
So it just, something emotive happens in my life and they just come.
Yeah.
I was just telling you earlier about my brother.
Yes.
Lately, most of the songs I've written have been centered on him or his life or how he impacted my life. And it just depends on where I'm at, emotionally, spiritually at that point in my life. Yeah,
sure it does. I've heard a song that you wrote about your brother. Was it to your brother, about your brother? Is there a particular song you sing out when you're in public?
I sing a song called I'll Be Your Song, which is
that's the one.
The day that he found out he had cancer, he called me and that was one that came to me really fast. He told me about it, and because he was a singer and a musician and an incredible songwriter. I wish maybe I'll share his stuff with you.
Okay.
And he had lung cancer, and he got to the point where he couldn't sing, and so that was it. I just wanted to take his sickness and his sorrow all on myself. So that's kind of what that song is about.
Okay, yeah.
Of course, you can't do that. Everybody has to live their own thing, but yeah.
Right. But that song is something else. Yeah.
Thank you.
And to hear and hearing where it comes from makes it that much more powerful, of course. But the words and lyrics are, really amazing. And I feel really grateful I've been able to hear it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. It's really, really beautiful. So I see I love to ask people their process for songwriting. Mine is similar to yours. They come
like come when they do.
They come when they do. Sometimes it's a phrase, you'll hear something or just shows up. And you've been doing it most of your life since you were a teenager.
Long time.
Yeah. That's great. What about, is there in your life, have you had a particular artist or a mentor that has influenced you greatly, or more than one perhaps?
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I think just the whole family music thing is, kind of what started it off.
Yeah.
I felt kind of set apart because, my brothers all played and they were over here and I was over here. But like a famous person that inspired me.
Doesn't have to be, but
I don't know. It's like, where am I in my life? When I was young and I started playing, I listened to a lot of Emmylou Harris because in my house it was country music. And if you flip the radio to the pop station, you had to flip it back before Dad got home because we had a house full of country music and that was it.
Yeah.
So I listened to a lot of Emmylou Harris when I was young. And I don't know, I think there's too many things out there and too many influences, and I don't know, that's a hard question. I can't name any one person.
Yeah. I think often we don't even know how many have influenced us because they just organically have, I guess.
Sometimes I think, like, if I was listening to a lot of Lucinda Williams, and then a song that I wrote during that time, might remind me of her style or something, I wish.
Yeah.
But she's pretty cool.
Yeah.
She's a wonderful writer and
very
genuine.
Yeah, right, exactly. I feel the same. Genuine, her stuff can be really like raw is the word I think of when I think of Lucinda Williams a lot too. Like straight, honest, and pretty raw and about the stuff that we all struggle with and can relate to quite a lot. Okay. Yeah. Let me think. Where are we? Now, you perform, and you have done that for a long time in public. Is there anything that you do to prepare yourself before you go on
like
stage?
Mentally?
Yeah.
Not really. Lately, we have our own gear, and Lori is my partner, my music partner, and she, by the time I get there wherever we're playing, she's already got everything loaded in. Okay. And then I set up the sound and everything, and so I'm kind of just focusing on the task at hand. And then we always start with the same song, just to kind of settle in and get the sound levels right. I used to get nervous to the point where my knees would shake, and I'm better at that, except at the songwriter event in Merritt Island Library. Yeah. Because everybody is just sitting there watching you. They're not eating or drinking or doing whatever. It's all focuses on the person on the stage. And that's a little bit unnerving. Yeah. Because when you're sharing your songs, especially like a new song, it's like you put your whole self out there. Right. And you're like, just, listen to my drama. Right. Pretty much. And to prepare for that, you just have to jump right in.
Yeah. You kind of do. So at some point, and just that you're going to do that, right? And sitting in a a sitting room or somewhere where people are completely focused on you. It's a very different experience. Yeah. Kind of unnerving and very vulnerable feeling. Yeah. But a great experience, I think, to have.
It is.
Yeah. For a few different reasons. So mentally, you kind of just have the task at hand and getting the.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us something about the band and how you and Lori met? And
sure. So back to that coffee house back in 1997, 98. I at the Hootenanny, I met a mandolin player named Willie Hunton, and so we kind of started up a duo, and then Willie met somebody at a folk festival, South Florida Folk Festival, which is no longer, unfortunately. And Lori used to play with Patty in a group called One Street Over, Patty Sanzone.
That's right.
And they kind of played out of there. And so I guess Willie knew Lori before I did.
Yeah.
And so then we kind of got like a group of 4 of us together. We were called the Cool Bus Riders, which I never really did like that name.
The Cool Bus Riders.
Because Willie at the time, his lady was a traveling hippie lady that sold beads for a living. And in a short school bus where the H and the S were blacked out. So it was the cool bus.
Okay.
So, yeah. So Lori, Willie, Eddie Parshall, he lives in California now, wonderful singer-songwriter, just got together and started playing some of my songs. Eddie was a songwriter, or is a songwriter. And then we played at festivals around the state with Eddie, and then just locally. Sometimes we'd have another local guitar player, Steve Rinker, join us. And then Lori was playing with another guy named Steve Brooker, and sometimes he joined. It was just like, in and out, just musicians and friends, just in and out. So I've known Lori since like 1998, and singing together off and on since then. Yeah, I did get married in 2003, and left the band for love. Wanted to focus on home and my changing life at that time, and then got back out. I don't know, I want to say maybe 5 or 6 years ago. Okay. Hit the open mics with Lori, Steve Hodak and his lovely open mics, which help people, get out there and do their thing. Right. And then now here we are. Yeah. Okay. And performing in Brevard County mostly. Yeah. Right. So if you're ever in the area and you get a chance to see Broadband, you will not be sorry. They're pretty amazing. What an enjoyable show. So I had another thought about something to do with that, but I just lost it. That's okay too. So today, music in your life a lot is playing in the band, playing with Lori and doing that. And that's wonderful. I hope you keep doing it, and I get to keep seeing you guys. I hope so. Yeah. Stick around. Yeah, I plan to. Okay. I am now. That's a great thing. Hey, we're coming to near the end of a couple things. One is, I didn't mention yet in the video, but would you be, or to you before, interested in playing an original song for us on the show? Okay, great. Well, I'm going to ask you one more question, then we're going to take a break and get that set up. Okay, perfect. And so here's the thought. If you could have people remember you by one thing, what would that be? Oh, that's hard. And it's hard just because, when we were at, I'm just going through family members. My dad's service, a lot of people talked about his music, and my mom's like, but he was so much more. And at my brother's, it was all about his music. And my older brother who passed, he was a musician as well. So I think that's important, but there's more, Sure. I'm a mother. I've got 3 wonderful children, and then a grandmother. Oh, and I don't know. I never really thought about it. I hope that people think I was a nice person. Did good work in the world.
Yeah.
I better get busy if I'm going to do that.
You say it again?
I better get busy if I'm going to be doing
busy.
good work, giving back, that sort of thing.
Okay. I bet you give back a lot without realizing it.
Maybe. I don't know. I never really thought about that.
That's okay. It's a question I find an interesting one to think about in your life, and kind of makes you reflect on maybe what you do or don't do or would like to represent or be, like you said.
Maybe a good listener. I like, I'm really not great in social situations, like just for an example, the songwriters night at Nolan's. I'll go and I'll just find a seat by the bar. I'm not going to go sit at the table with the gang because I'm not great at casual conversation,
Yeah, sure.
But I do find myself in a place where people will call me or at work, come in my office and just sit down and just share.
Yeah.
And I think it makes me feel grateful that I'm able to be that ear for people. So maybe that's it.
Yeah, right. I am sure. And good. That is a good one because people need to feel that they're heard, and that things matter in their life and what they're going through. This is great, and it's a great time to end this part, and we're going to move into Dianne doing an original song of yours. Do you know what song it's going to be?
I don't know.
Not yet. Okay. That's okay. We're gonna introduce it before she starts when we come back. So stay tuned. Be right back. Hey, we're back. Back here with Dianne. Yes, and so she's gonna do an original song called
I'll Be Your Song.
I'll Be Your Song, and take it away, Dianne.
I'll be your home if you need a place to stay. And I'll be your will when you can't find your way. And I'll be your hunger when you don't want to eat. And I'll take your steps when you can't move your feet. I'll be the calm in the coming of the storm. When you feel cold, but I can keep you warm. If you feel weary and you need to rest your head, I'll be your bed. When it's all more than you can stand, I'll hold your hand. When you feel you can't go on, I'll be your voice, I'll be your song. I'll be your fist if you need to fight. And I'll shine the light that pulls back the night. And I'll be your power when you need to face your fear. And I'll hold you near. When it's all more than you can stand, I'll hold your hand. When you feel you can't go on, I'll be your voice, I'll be your song.
so beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm going to crawl back into the scene because I want to say thank you for doing that.
Thank you for
So beautiful.
listening.
And thank you for agreeing to do this
No, I
and
appreciate it.
share some of yourself. Yeah, with me and with anyone who's watching. And I had one more question, which I know I said last time I didn't have any more, but this is like, where can people find your music and more about you?
So I don't really have, I need to get in the studio and record some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I have a Reverb Nation page, which is out there. There's only 5 songs on it, but their downloads are free if you want them.
Mm-hmm.
But it is pretty dated, so it's nothing recent.
Okay.
My band is on Facebook, Broadband, BROADBAND, one word.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's some live recordings on there, but that's pretty much all I have. I need to get in the studio, record some stuff for posterity.
Yeah, it's really good to record stuff for everybody to be able to enjoy your music. And do you want to say, so if they look you up on Reverb Nation, what is it under?
It's under Dianne Martin-Karelovich. Martin, my maiden name.
Okay. Do you want to spell Karelovich?
Karelovich.
Okay. Perfect. So that's a little bit of where you can find some more. And I look forward to hearing if Dianne, when she records some stuff that I can have and listen to whenever I want to. And so can you. Thanks for joining us today. We'll see you again soon.
Bye.
Bye.